Hey everyone, these are some graphic novels that I really like and tick the 3 boxes for me that I look for in a graphic novel. The first one, it has to have great drawings. I have read a lot of good graphic novels that I enjoy the story very much, but I don't feel as drawn to them and I don't enjoy them as much as the ones where I really love the drawings. For me, half of the enjoyment is appreciating the art and like thinking about how they made it, and for me it's half and half. It has to have beautiful visuals as well as a great story. So the second box is the story, how well it is narrated, how captivated I am with the characters and what is happening. And the third box is I really wanted to find graphic novels that were a single volume or that had an immediate conclusion without it being a series or several volumes long, just because first of all I wanted inspiration for my own graphic novel, which is going to be like a standalone single tome story that just finishes in one book, and also because most of these I rented from the library at my school. It has a really good library and I cannot afford to buy all the graphic novels I want to read. And it helps a lot when it's just one tome, or where you can like source it or have it there and not have to wait or look for all the other ones. So I'm gonna show you 5 that I really recommend. If you're like me and you're looking for good graphic novels, this might help you. So the first one is Embroideries by, I don't know, maybe I will butcher all the last names of the authors. It's Marjane Satrapi. She's an Iranian author who now lives in France, and her most famous work, which you probably know, is Persepolis. I read Persepolis, I really love it, but I found her 2 shorter books or shorter stories. They're not that short, but not as long as Persepolis, which is an autobiographical novel. And this one is about her family, the women in her family in particular, and they're all stories. They're the stories that women gossip about when they have their tea, and after dinner all the men of the family have either taken a nap or going to the other room and drinking. They take that time to confess all their stories and tell what they know, and it's just really insightful, and some of the stories make you really uncomfortable and they're hard to read. They make me really angry, but at the same time they're funny. They're really well illustrated, very simple, and the illustrations are just black and white, and they almost look like woodcut prints. They don't have any grays or grayscale. But yeah, so there are a bunch of different stories told by the characters in the book, and some of them you can see also in Persepolis because they're characters from her real life and her family, and I love it very, very much. And it's very interesting because it's all about women, and she's I would say a feminist author, and her work is amazing. The second one is also by Marjane Satrapi, and it's called Chicken with Plums. This one is my favorite. This one is probably my favorite graphic novel from all the ones I'm gonna recommend. At first, this is a very funny thing, because at first when I read it, I didn't love it. Like halfway through, I was thinking of dropping it. I felt like, I don't know why. I felt like I didn't relate to most of the characters. I didn't like the protagonist. That was part of my problem. But by the end of it, when I finished it, I felt, wow, this is genius, this is amazing, and everything comes together full circle, and it works so well. I was amazed. I took it out of the library for a second time to read it again, and I love it even more. It has the same style of drawings, some of the same characters, because it's also based or inspired in members of Marjane's life and her family. This is a really, really good book. I cannot recommend it enough. And they feel a little bit like old school stories, like when you have those I don't even know the word, but when you feel like they're telling you something with a moral or like a children's book, but they're very adult, but at the same time they feel very current. I cannot explain it, you just have to read it. Next is my Lesbian Experience with Loneliness by Nagata Kabi. And she is a manga artist. So she's Japanese, and so I can read you this. This is a very good summary. It's 28 years old, no confidence, no directions, never had sex. So for me this book was very interesting because I'm very used to reading manga, and it looks like a regular manga and it feels like reading a regular manga, but at the same time it has a very unconventional theme, and it's very personal. It's her life story of how she knew that she was a lesbian, which funnily enough is just like a passing thing, like not a passing thing, like she doesn't dwell on the fact that she's a lesbian. It is more on her life experience of really being lonely and her struggles growing up. And I have to say, this book made me cry and also made me feel really uncomfortable because she tackles some very deep subjects that are very painful, and I was just constantly amazed on how she manages to talk about something so personal so openly. I think it's going to help a lot of people who are going through the same problems. I don't know, I felt it very, very touching and heartbreaking, but at the same time it's so funny. So she wanted to do that, she mentions it, to make it very cute and funny and relatable, and you're feeling like you're reading something light, but it's very deep and heartfelt and horrible, honestly. Like some parts of her life are very hard to swallow, but I love it very much. I recommend it. Another one is this beautiful book. I have it in Swedish, but they have also published it in English. It's originally written in French, I think. It's written by Fanny, Britt, and illustrated by Isabelle Arsenault. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. She came to my school to give a talk, and I actually already knew her. Not her, her work, and I love it so much. I love her style, her illustrations are beautiful. She even took some originals with her so we could see them, and they're exactly this size, and they look like one of the pages, like one of the finished pages. So much detail. I was surprised. I would have thought that she made them bigger so it would be easier to draw and then size them down, but no, they're exactly the size. And well, this book, the most famous one, I think it's Jane the Fox and Me. This is a similar type of story about Louis. This is his father, and it has wonderful characters. It is very funny, very sad, because it's a sad subject, and it's for kids, but like older kids, because it handles some hard themes like alcoholism and depression and stuff, but also it is very nice and bright and beautiful. I would have loved to read this when I was younger, and I also love it now. And the beautiful illustrations are enough to just buy or look for this graphic novel, but also the story is very good. I of course cannot read Swedish, so what we've been doing is my boyfriend is reading it to me, and I have been trying to follow along, and then he translates what I cannot understand. But I wanted to have it because I think this edition is beautiful, and I was lucky enough to have her there sign it. So yeah, I cannot recommend it enough. It's just beautiful. And the final one I don't have here because I rented it from the library and someone else has rented it, so I couldn't find it. But I took some pictures, so I'm gonna insert them here. It's by Jillian Tamaki, which is an artist I really, really like. I love her graphic novels, I love her work in general. And this is one of her earlier works. It's written by her cousin Mariko Tamaki and illustrated by her, Jillian. And I love her illustrations because she has a very expressive, I don't know, it's kind of very realistic, but with just a few lines. And it has a lot of detail and character. It's like a slice of life, though this particular one, Skim, it's like a slice of life of a high school girl and something that happens, and she's kind of into witchcraft a little bit, but it's not fantasy or anything. It's just a thing that appears. It feels kind of like a 90s movie, but a good 90s movie to read it. It gives you that feeling of nostalgia, even though you weren't there, you feel like you were, and I really enjoyed it. Her characters are very real, you feel like you know all of them. And it's also a little bit, the word is not cynical, but it's not like sugar-coated. It's very straightforward, and some of her work that she has done after that, it's even harder or like tougher. I don't know. But I recommend it as well, obviously, because it's in this video. But yeah, I'm always looking for graphic novel recommendations. Please, if you have any graphic novel that you can think of, I want to squeeze all of them in the time I have left in my school and ask for them, because sometimes you can ask and they bring them to the library. So if you have any recommendations, please share them with me in the comments. I will try to get them and read them. And I hope this was helpful for you and you found something maybe that you didn't know. And yeah, I'm very excited because I'm now fully on working on my graphic novel. It makes me scared to see all of these wonderful works and attempting to do my own. But yeah, it's something I really, really want to do. And yeah, that was it for today. And I hope you have a wonderful week and see you soon. Bye!